2020 presidential election coverage starts now. So a lot of you are probably wondering who won the 2020 presidential debate, the first one between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and I think this comment here roughly summarizes what the pundits thought. So we'll start with this comment and then we'll drop into a set of articles which look at the polls. But firstly, so this man called God Saad said, "I truly think that both candidates are coming across as less than ideal, albeit for different reasons. Real Donald Trump seems angry and indignant in ways that are unbecoming, and many people will be turned off by this. Joe Biden comes across as an empty, vacuous avocado. If Trump were to better modulate his nonverbal cues, he would come across as more dignified and approachable. As it stands, it's angry bully versus avocado brain." And as you can see, some of these comments said perfectly articulated, etc. Now, whether or not you agree with this is sort of here or there. I mean, you can make up your own mind. What I'm saying here is that this is sort of what I've been seeing the pundits say. But now let's drop into a set of articles and take a look at what the polls say. So we start with CNN, which has a sort of left-wing bent, or sort of Democrat bent, and they have this article here, "No, polls don't show Donald Trump won the debate big." And they start, "On Thursday morning, Donald Trump tweeted this: 'I won the debate big, based on the compilation of polls, etc. Thank you. This is, in a word, false. Let me prove it. Here are two major news organizations' polls that sought to measure public opinion on the first general election debate between Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden on Tuesday night in Cleveland. 1. A CNN post-debate poll showed 60% of debate watchers said Biden did a better job in the debate, while 28% said Trump did. 2. A CBS News poll of debate watchers showed that 48% thought Biden won as compared to 41% who thought Trump did. The rest, around 10%, called the debate a tie. Neither of those, if I'm reading them right, say Trump won, and a compilation of those polls also do not say that he won. They say that he lost, period. What then is Trump talking about? Honest answer? I'm not exactly sure," says Crystalliza. "But my best guess is that Trump is conflating actual scientific polls, like the two I noted above, with non-scientific internet polls, which, among other methodological flaws, allow a single person to cast as many votes as they like. Breitbart, a strongly pro-Trump news site, conducts just such a poll. According to its most recent results, more than 87% of respondents said that Trump won the debate. Who are these people? Do they represent an accurate sample of the electorate? We have no way of knowing. There's a similar sort of poll at the bottom of this .al.com article on the debate. Of the 369,000 respondents, 52% said Trump won the debate, while 48% chose Biden. Trump never one to dig deep into how a poll is conducted, may have latched onto numbers like the non-scientific ones being produced by Breitbart and other sites. Or, and this is a real possibility, Trump is just saying he won without even any bad numbers, like those in the Breitbart poll to back him up. That would also be in keeping with Trump's lifelong strategy of declaring victory loudly in the face of loss. Remember that Trump has long lived in a self-reinforcing bubble, in which he is allowed to tell himself a story of his life, where he is the star, the winner, the hero. Anyone not willing to play along with him in that story by, noting the facts that often that don't support Trump's version of events is removed from his inner circle. This is Crystalliza saying this, which over time produces a senior level of aides who function only as enablers. Sidebar: Trump's obsession with being seen as winning the debate seems to overlook what happened in 2016. He was judged by polls conducted after each of the 3 debates that year to have lost them to Hillary Clinton. He won the White House anyway. On Thursday evening, Trump tweeted a screenshot of an unscientific poll from C-SPAN's Twitter account. So this was the screenshot. Who won the first presidential debate from C-SPAN, and it shows Donald Trump at 69% against Joe Biden's 19%, and 10% for none of the above, and unsure 2%. So the C-SPAN poll appears to have shown Donald Trump winning the debate. And as Crystalliza noted, he tweeted a screenshot of that unscientific poll from C-SPAN's Twitter account, showing him winning 69% to 19% for Biden. Unfortunately for our democracy, there are now lots and lots of people who take Trump's tweet about his debate performance as fact, and never do any independent research, which would, of course, show that there's no actual evidence to suggest that Trump won the debate. Trump supporters wanted to believe that he won because he said that what they wanted to hear. Or they didn't even watch the debate, but they support Trump. Or because the media says that Trump lost, he must have won. The media didn't say Trump lost. The media conducted polls in which the people who watched the debate said he lost. When facts are sidelined in favor of personal opinion, you get the current crisis of truth in our country. And that impact of that crisis falls on Republicans and Democrats equally. And then, of course, CNN has another article on this, where he says, post-debate CNN poll, 6 in 10 say Biden won the debate. This was, if you remember, the immediate poll after that first debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump that CNN did, and it said that 6 in 10 debate watchers said former Vice President Joe Biden did the best job in Tuesday's debate, and just 28% say President Donald Trump did, according to a CNN poll of debate watchers conducted by SSRS. In interviews with the same voters conducted before the debate, 56% said they expected Biden to do the better job, while 43% expected Trump would. So what that would show, if you believe the polls by SSRS, is that the polls were maybe slightly weighted toward Biden compared to polling averages, but that the polls severely diverged post-debate in favor of Joe Biden and diverged against sort of Donald Trump's results. If you think that SSR poll or SSRS poll is sort of very scientifically sound. The post-debate result is about the same as the outcome of a post-debate poll in 2016 after the first debate between Trump and Hillary Clinton. In that poll, 62% thought Clinton won the debate and 27% said Trump did. About 2/3 said Biden's answers were more truthful than Trump's, 65% said Biden to 29% said Trump, and his attacks on the president were far more frequently seen as fair. Overall, 69% called Biden's attacks on Trump fair, while just 32% said Trump's attacks were fair. The survey is designed to be representative of those registered voters who watched Tuesday's debate. It does not represent the views of all Americans. The voters who watched the debate were more partisan than Americans as a whole. 36% identified as independents or non-partisans compared to with about 40% of the general public, and the group of debate watchers was more Democratic than a typical survey of all adults, with 39% of men identifying as Democrats and 25% as Republicans. Beyond overall praise for his performance, voters who watched the debate largely said that they trusted the former vice president over the current president on major issues covered in the debate, including racial inequality. 66% trust Biden more, 29% trust Trump more. Healthcare, 66% trust Biden more, to 32% who trust Trump more. The coronavirus outbreak, 64% trust Biden more against 34% who trust Trump more. And Supreme Court nominations, 54% Biden to 43% Trump. On the economy, though, voters who watched the debate split, with 50% saying they preferred Biden and 48% preferring Trump. Overall, 63% who watched the debate said Biden had the better plan for solving the country's problems, 30% said Trump did, and that he seemed to be the stronger leader, 55% Biden to 43% Trump. The debate did not appear to dramatically move voters who watched in either vote preferences or their overall impressions of the two candidates. A majority of the debate watchers, 57%, said that Tuesday's debate did not affect their choice for president, while the minority who said they were moved were more apt to say they became more likely to vote Biden, 32%, than Trump, 11%. Biden was, however, viewed as having better addressed concerns about his candidacy. 59% said Biden addressed those concerns better, against 37% who thought Trump addressed them better. Favorable views on both candidates were largely steady. 62% had a favorable view of Biden. Just 35% had a favorable view of Trump when compared to the pre-debate results among the same people. Before that, of course, 60% had a favorable view of Biden against 37% who had a favorable view of Trump. The CNN post-debate poll was conducted by SSRS by telephone and includes interviews with 568 registered voters who watched the September 29th debate. I would just say, as a caveat, that 568 voters is not a lot. I know your average poll can be as low as sort of 2,000 registered voters, but 568 registered voters could easily diverge from the national sample in certain ways. Results among the debate watchers have a margin of sampling error plus or minus 6.3 percentage points. Respondents were originally interviewed on September 22nd to 27th, either by telephone or online, and indicated that they planned to watch the debate and would be willing to be re-interviewed when it was over. Respondents initially reached online are members of the SSRS opinion panel, a nationally representative probability-based panel. And so that was that CNN article immediately after that first debate. And then there's this great Newsweek article over here, which I'm including to balance out the sort of CNN leaning. So CNN, we know, leans sort of center-left. Newsweek, I believe, leans center-right. Maybe some of you guys know a little bit more about Newsweek. I don't really read Newsweek that much, but I saw this article and I thought I should include it because I want to present a balanced view to my audience, so that the audience isn't caught off guard on either side, and that the CNN part would probably throw off some Trump supporters and this part will throw off some Democrats, and that's the right thing for me to do. So here, Newsweek is saying that 66% of Spanish-speaking Americans in Telemundo's Twitter poll think Trump just won the debate. So it says, while the question of who won Tuesday's presidential debate between Donald Trump and Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden lies in the court of public opinion, many Spanish-speaking viewers of Telemundo gave their support to Trump in a poll conducted on Twitter. Both candidates have campaigned heavily in the Latino community. Trump's campaign has attempted to reel in Latino supporters with his Latinos for Trump initiative, and Biden made an appearance at a September Hispanic Heritage Month celebration in Florida. Work by the Trump campaign to attract Latino voters may be paying off. In a poll conducted after the debate, 66% of participants told Telemundo that they believe that Trump won the debate. Only 34% of poll participants thought Biden made a better showing in Tuesday's debate. Telemundo hosts warned that the poll was not scientific, but was based on the responses on the participation of its followers on Twitter. Now, as a caveat, as was earlier pointed out in that CNN article, when you do an online poll, the same person can technically, sort of give an answer multiple times. I think with Twitter, they have to log in, and then once they've logged in, they can only give the answer once, unless they're doing some bizarre form of, hacking it, which I haven't heard too much about. But what they could do is create multiple accounts. So if there's some, if there's I think they call them troll farms out there or whatever, who just vote in one particular direction, these things can be adjusted. So I wouldn't trust them wholeheartedly, but what I would say is this, that prior to this, we already saw the Latino community, you'll see this in some of my earlier videos if you've been watching, we're moving in favor of Trump in Florida in particular, which is why I had said that it was unlikely that Florida is probably going to go Democrat, because in 2016, if you remember, Florida was sort of tipping over to either side. It was undecided at the time. And what tipped it over toward Trump was this Latino support that came out of nowhere. And there was a bit of a bump in Latino support. And that, at the last second, tipped it over in favor of Trump. Now, if you want to make the case that Biden's going to win Florida, and Florida, they say, as Florida goes, so goes the nation, then you would have to say that Latino support, which was the tipping factor in 2016, would be waning in favor of Trump and sort of waxing or getting stronger in favor of Joe Biden. But the evidence was not showing that. And post-debate, we see a continuation of that same, in fact, a strengthening of that same evidence, where 2/3 of these Latino voters on Twitter are claiming to support Trump. So we see a pretty strong strengthening of Trump's vote share in Florida. So strong, in fact, I mean, we're talking about 2/3 to 1/3, that, you're compelled to think, well, maybe there was an overrepresentation of Republicans in the sample or something. But that's what's happening here. This is very important, because if you think Florida's going Democrat, well, you'll have to explain away this surge in Latino support. You would have to say, well, either I don't believe these polls, I don't believe the polls showing that the support's strengthening, I think there's a hidden Democrat vote. Tell me in the comment section below what you believe is going to happen in Florida, especially if you disagree with me and you think that their support is actually strengthening for Joe Biden. If that's the case, obviously Florida will tip over for Joe Biden, but I can't find the evidence of that, which is why I wanted to share this news with you guys. So, in a poll conducted after the debate, 66% of participants told Telemundo they believed Trump won the debate. Only 34% of poll participants thought Biden made a better showing in Tuesday's debate. Telemundo hosts warned that the poll was not scientific. It was based on responses from the participation of its followers on Twitter. Like other news organizations, Noticias Telemundo conducted a Twitter opinion poll last night to capture instant online reaction to the first presidential debate, a Telemundo spokesperson said in a statement provided to Newsweek. When the final results were announced on air, Noticias Telemundo prefaced the results by explaining the numbers did not reflect a scientific survey, but instead a real-time online poll among Twitter users. So that was Newsweek. And then finally we have this article over here, which is interesting, Rasmussen. Now, Rasmussen, I think, it tends to lean right, I would say. I remember in 2016, Rasmussen was always the most bullish pollster for Trump. And I can't remember if they got it right or if they undershot or if they overshot. I think they undershot by a little bit, but they were always, but sometimes, some of their polls were just massively in favor of Trump, and that did not materialize. So I would class them as sort of center right. So take that as you will. But what they do a very good job of is just producing a lot of polls. They just produce more than other people. So debate watchers give Biden the edge, according to Rasmussen, but 20% are undecided. Even though President Trump did most of the talking, debate watchers tend to see Democrat Joe Biden as the winner, although a sizable number remain undecided. The latest Rasmussen Reports National Telephone and Online Survey finds that 84% of likely U.S. voters watched at least part of the first presidential debate between Trump and Biden. Of these voters, 44% say Biden won, versus 36% who claim Trump is the winner. So 44 for Biden, 36 for Trump. But 20% are not sure. To see survey question wording, click here. So this is key, because if 20% are not sure, then you have a 20% silent vote, as it were, that they will ultimately have to tip toward Trump or Biden. These are likely voters. And, if you're very fair-minded, you would say, yeah, 10% of them are going to go to Trump and 10% are going to go to Biden, and therefore it's going to be 54-46 Biden to Trump. But if you're a Republican, I know the Republicans in the comment section, they believe there is a silent vote, and if they do, then that 20%, they're looking at it as more of sort of in the Republican camp. So in that case, I guess if you added all 20% to Trump, you would have 56 for Trump against 44% for Biden. So there is an optimistic case for the Republicans in the comment section for what they're seeing. But obviously the stats as they lie are in favor of Biden. There's no question. Of these voters, 44% say Biden won versus 36% who claim Trump is the winner. 13% of the debate watchers said that the debate changed their mind about whom they're going to vote for. That's key, because if it changed their mind, then you need to know who won that debate, because it has now altered, apparently, according to them, the polls. So the polls before are just not accurate anymore. Republicans, 91%, are more likely to have watched the debate than Democrats, who 84% watched, and voters not affiliated with either major party, 78% of whom watched. 63% of GOP watchers think Trump won. GOP is the Republican Party. And 72% of Democrat watchers disagree and say Biden is the winner. Among unaffiliated voters, 39% say Biden won and 32% say Trump, but 29% are not sure. That's a lot of not sure. That's 1/3 of the unaffiliated who are just not sure. So those guys could go either way. And that's going to massively influence the poll results depending on where they finally cast that ballot. Republicans, 19%, are more likely than Democrats at 12% and unaffiliated at 7% to say the debate changed their mind. Interesting. So if it changed their mind and it went toward Biden, if that's your view, then the debate actually whittled away voters from the Trump camp. The survey of 1,000 likely voters was conducted by Rasmussen Reports with an error of 3 percentage points and a 95% confidence level. So that's sort of a quick look at sort of CNN's angle, Newsweek's angle, Rasmussen's angle. Newsweek, so Rasmussen and CNN basically agree that Biden got the edge. Rasmussen gives Biden much less of an edge, sort of something like 44% say Biden won versus 36% who claim Trump is the winner. And if we remember what CNN said, CNN had pointed out that 6 in 10, so 60% say Biden won the debate. And then they had other stats here where it wasn't just 60%, but that there were sort of other polls in that range that said that Trump Biden won that debate. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and this is Trump's, of course, tweet. This is Trump's perspective, which CNN pointed out, which has these online C-SPAN polls showing that Trump won 70%. So it's all over the place. I mean, I can see both sides right now in the comment section below getting infuriated because, you have polls which some polls say the Democrats won by a mile and the other ones say the Republicans won by a mile. The official polls done by the official pollsters definitely agree that the Democrats won by a mile to a little bit, whereas all of the online polls, the unofficial polls, and practically, I've seen the online polls, I would say at least 80%, if not 90%, say Donald Trump won. So those are the ones where you can just vote twice, and but those ones, and this one, for example, has 325,000 votes. So I mean, if someone voted twice, that's not going to affect the final result. But if someone voted 100,000 times, that might. So it depends. What do you think? Do you think there's 200,000 voters in here who are just sort of paid voters? I don't know, sitting in maybe America, maybe China, maybe Russia. I don't know. Is that what it is? Are there 200,000 of these people, I guess, just spamming polls online? You know, it's not unheard of because there are a lot of polls, actually. I know you guys have seen them. A lot of polls that are just highly unreliable online. So let me know what you think, and if you like this video, be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching.